Hey folks, Jim here, producer of Around the House Show. You're loving the audio tips right now, but here's something new. Our full-length episodes and expert interviews are now on YouTube as video, so you can watch the demos, tool close-ups, and guest interviews, or just hit play and listen like a regular podcast. Just search Around the House Show on YouTube, hit that red subscribe button, and turn on notifications. It's free, and you'll get the best of both worlds, visual how-tos when you want them, audio when you're on the go. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast app too. Thanks. And now back to the show.
Coming up, Massimo Buster Minale, founder of Buster & Punch, architect, industrial designer, on Around the House with Eric G.
Because I've come from this sort of subculture motorbike background, and when I was making bikes, I made bikes for a lot of rock stars and fashion designers and musicians. I've kind of taken that energy and put them into very, very boring type things, you know, and it's that kind of contrast that I think has got people excited in something that people never got excited in about. You know, traditionally, if you're renovating your home, you might go to Lowe's or Home Depot as a last resort, pick up all your switches and door handles or get your contractor to do it, and not give that stuff a second thought, whereas I've always wanted someone to love their door handle like they would their favourite leather jacket or whatever it might be.
Everybody stop what you're doing, please!
When it comes to remodeling and renovating your home, there is no better show on your radio. This is Around the House with Eric G.
Where's the hammer?
From your back fence to the sidewalk, Eric will tell you how to keep it all in tip-top shape while helping you save a buck while doing it. If you like DIY projects, it takes a lot of practice to get good at it, and Eric is here to guide the way.
Is it on the... Go up on the other floor. Somebody go up there and stop the hammering.
All that and more on the fastest 2 hours of home improvement radio.
These are the wrong plans. These are the old plans. Oh.
Welcome to
Stop it!
Around the House with Eric G.
Welcome back to Around the House with Eric G. This is where we talk home improvement and design every single weekend. Thanks for joining us. We've got a special guest here in the studio. London architect, industrial designer, founder, father, all of these things. Massimo Buster Minale, founder of Buster & Punch. This is a new brand for me that I've been watching over the last few years. And it is some stunning stuff. Massimo, thanks for coming on to Around the House today.
Thanks, Eric, for the lovely introduction. Founding father, or founder and father, but yeah. Ringing in today from a cold Stockholm, actually, in Sweden. So, yeah.
Nice. Welcome to the show from there, and of course, where my great-grandfather came from, and, just a beautiful country over there. Well, you have been rocking the design world for a number of years, and, I'm an interior designer by trade. I've been doing it for 30 years, and I love your style, but you started off, in the world of architecture. What got you originally into architecture to kind of get you going down this road?
I think I've had design in my family bloodline for many years. My dad was a graphic designer who he actually designed the Gucci logo, the Armani logo. So he was very big on the first fashion branders, if you like, in the 50s and 60s.
Nice.
My mum was also a designer. So we just sort of had design in the family. I love drawing. I also love common sense and maths and physics, and I kind of ended up doing architecture. And I did architecture for a number of years in London. I worked for some very large architecture firms like Norman Foster's and Richard Rogers, and became slightly frustrated, if you like, at how slow architecture can be. You can be
Amen.
Working 2 years on some toilet blocks. It's not as exciting as residential interior design, but it's noble and honest. But yeah, I sort of my ADHD, if you like, just got the better of me, and I couldn't stand the waiting around of architecture, so I sort of broke free and started my own thing, which was initially making custom motorbikes. So by day I would be an architect working in a big office in the centre of town. Then by night I'd make custom motorbikes, and sort of somewhere between that I ended up going into products and industrial design. So that's kind of I've sort of gone from very large architectural buildings, big glass steel things in London, to very small glass steel things and products, and yeah, that's where I am today.
Well, it's amazing because I relate a little bit, because I've got that similar, I don't like to stay planted very long on one thing, and so I move around a lot on stuff, and so that same kind of gift curse all at the same time. I get it, because I was doing high-rise interior design stuff, doing cabinetry and things like that, and yeah, you'd work on a project for 2 years, and it was a meeting to plan the next meeting, and for design work it's horribly boring when you get into that stuff. But you've transitioned, and I'm a hot rod guy, you're a motorcycle guy, so I get it, and we both kind of have our tattoo collection, so I'll say we've got some similarities from that. But man, what you have done with Buster and Punch has reimagined residential interior, that whole, what I would call just that home luxury label that you've got there is stunningly beautiful, and you have done so much in really so little time. You've gone past companies that have, in my eyes, that have spent 100 years doing this in what, 8 years, coming up on a decade soon. You've got just some stunning, beautiful stuff that's quite frankly affordable for a lot of people.
Well, thanks for that. I mean, yeah, when I was an architect, I actually specialised in the interior side of architecture. So architects have traditionally, especially 10, 20 years ago, sort of turned their noses up at interior design and the insides of buildings. They've always loved the outsides of buildings. So my speciality was in residential, and it was trying to make things look $1 million but cost $100,000. So I spent a lot of my time looking for home functional fittings like door handles and light switches and pull bars and furniture knobs and cabinet knobs and things like that you will see in all around your home if you sit back in your chair, and it took me an age to find, one piece of brass on a door handle that would match another piece of brass on a light socket or a light switch, and that frustrated me. So part of that went into what we actually did at Buster and Punch, which was this idea of taking very boring, ordinary functional fittings that people sort of traditionally have forgotten about, like the light switch and like the door handle, and kind of look at it from a different angle and kind of a fashion, exciting lifestyle angle. So we've sort of like tried to reinvent all these home details and make them not just feel and look different, but also make the way you feel about them different. So recently we launched a range of light switches using a rap video on Spotify rather than what our traditional competitors do, which is take out and add in AD or whatever
Correct.
It might be. So because I've come from this sort of subculture motorbike background, and when I was making bikes, I made bikes for a lot of rock stars and fashion designers and musicians. I've kind of taken that energy and put them into very, very boring type things, and it's that kind of contrast that I think has got people excited in something that people never got excited in about. Traditionally, if you're renovating your home, you might go to Lowe's or Home Depot as a last resort, pick up all your switches and door handles or get your contractor to do it, and not give that stuff a second thought. Whereas I've always wanted someone to love their door handle like they would their favourite leather jacket or whatever it might be. So we've kind of like injected this fashion, music, subculture excitement into some very, very boring home details and dragged it into the 21st century, if you like. So it sits more as like a fashion must-have offering rather than a sort of boring must-buy offering that it's been traditionally. So that's kind of helped us, disrupt this little industry, this little space that we sit in at the moment, and get us in front of more eyeballs than that we're really happy about. And we're finally starting to be seen in America. We've been very big in the UK and Europe for some time, so it's really lovely to sort of speak on radio shows and to finally see the stuff hitting the States.
Well, Massimo, my question for you is, it's coming from architecture, getting into motorbikes, or you've always probably been into motorbikes, but focusing on motorbikes, and then transitioning into building probably your first stuff that got you into Buster and Punch. How did that start out from welding up a bike frame to I'm going to start building lights and hardware?
Well, my speciality when I was making custom bikes was I used to cut and shut bikes. So in simple terms, I'd take a Japanese race bike for the front end of a bike and then weld it to an American Harley.
Nice.
Right? And all the parts of that bike, the handlebars, the foot pegs, every part of machinery I used to make myself, all from beautiful solid metals, all very process heavy. Mm-hmm. And I used to sell those bikes to a lot of interesting people. Those interesting people knew that I was an architect and started to ask me for things for their homes. So things like light fittings and doorknobs and toilet roll holders. And actually our first ever product was a small pull bar for one of the Rolling Stones. And that's kind of when the penny dropped. And I was like, there's something in this. There's something in this idea of beautiful, heavy, boring home products, but making them really exciting and in a beautiful way. So actually, it kind of was a bit of a love child between my first love, which is architecture, and my second love, which is custom motorbikes. And it's everything in between has all gone into Buster and Punch, and there's kind of a bit of everything in there. I'm not a businessman. I never thought that we would, be able to be in stores in America. I've always just loved making stuff, and I've always loved my sort of London life that I live in subcultures and with all my friends, and I love designing products with all of these interesting people. And so I think Buster and Punch is basically just a culmination of everything that I personally love, and kind of my journey from being an architect to making motorbikes to the one penny drop moment when I made, a pull bar for the drummer of the Rolling Stones, and it's kind of just followed on from there, and things have sort of just snowballed,
Nice. And a
bit odd,
but I love it. I love it. That's the beauty of this. And I mean, I've got this last weekend in my house, I was installing the Hero light over my dining room table. And, I absolutely love how you guys have just perfected that very fine, diamond-shaped knurling pattern on the metal. It reminds me of motorcycles and Marshall amplifiers, to be honest. And it's beautiful.
Yeah. So we're our signature look, if you like, is that sort of diamond cut cross nail, which, as you said, is a pattern that you see on amplifiers and old guitars and motorbike handlebars. And we've used that as our sort of like Louis Vuitton signature, if you like, because it shows that the product, the metal that we use is solid for one. You can't nail something that's plated.
Yep.
It has to be solid. But also it has that very lovely tactile feel. And all of the products that we make are things that you kind of touch around your house every day, a lot of the day, things like door handles. So it's not just the way they look, but it's kind of like the way that it feels underhand and things like that. So yeah, that kind of has become our signature, that thing. And like you said, if you look at your Hero light that you've got above your dining table and you go to a motorbike show and you look at all these custom bikes, it's the same sort of attention to detail. And it's that same sort of metal machinery expertise, if you like, that goes into our products as we used to put into motorbikes, or we still put into motorbikes. So I'm glad you picked up on that. Great.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And then another thing that you guys have perfected, your light bulbs are like no one else's in my book. That vintage light, this is not your typical Edison bulb. Stunning design in a light bulb.
Yeah, actually those light bulbs are probably my they're the thing that almost killed us, and they're the thing that I kind of love the most. You know, as you said, sort of 10 years ago, every single cheap bistro, restaurant or pub used to have those Edison light bulbs, and everyone loved the warm glow off them. Didn't realise that they were awful for the environment and awful for your wallet.
Yep.
You know, and we sort of saw that light bulb coming to an end and tried to make kind of not a replica of it, but kind of like the new futuristic version of what that light bulb would be. And I second mortgaged the home, you know, almost had to sell the kids. We put every single penny that I had into trying to make the world's first designer LED bulb. You know, and every big bulb company was trying to make this bulb that you could look at, but it was LED. And we managed to do it in 2016, and we launched it in the Milan Design Show and won a bunch of awards. But it's definitely it's stood the test of time. It still feels very futuristic, and it's, you know, it's my biggest feather in my cap, and you know, we're really proud of it here. And like you said, it's very unique. So if you see it on social or in someone's house, you know, people always comment on that light bulb, which is great.
Yeah, it's stunning, and I'll have some pictures up here of the one in my house here, you know, for the social media here when you're listening to this. But I tell you what, some of these things, and I love where you're going with the style. You know, your pendant lights and stuff are beautiful, but man, when you get into that exhaust again, and the motorcycle influence comes out with your new spotlights. I mean, you know, the 70s, you used to see all these track lights out there that no one could really come up with something beautiful until now.
Yeah, I think, you know, that's the key for me as a designer, and I guess kind of the brand, is that, you know, I hate to try and design something that has been done well before. I don't think there's any point. I think you sort of waste a lot of energy, and you know, it's not great for the world to keep having chair upon chair upon chair upon chair that kind of looks the same. So, you know, we constantly try and think of things around the home or in bars and restaurants that haven't been done well before. And one of them is the spotlight. You know, it's always kind of just been very simple, black and white. And again, something that's kind of gathers dust on a Home Depot shelf. and so that's been our latest product, you know, and we launched this new burnt steel finish, which is super cool. And it is literally off a motorbike or probably a hot rod exhaust that you make from titanium or steel. And if you're a bike or petrol head, you'll know that if you heat titanium or steel, it gets this lovely rainbow of purples and yellows and blues. And so we've got that in this finish. It's a fun finish, and it's that sort of like, you know, I've never wanted Buster and Punch to kind of be just this motorbike-themed interior design brand. I've wanted to take little, you know, inspiration parts from motorbikes, from fashion, from music, and sort of just, you know, kind of change very boring things, and I think that's a really good example, and that burnt steel is really cool. You know, every time we put it on the website, it sells out in like a couple of hours, so it looks like people are enjoying it. You know, there's never been a finish like it, so these things can either work well or die, but so far so good, touch wood.
But I think the beauty of this is that for people that aren't, as you call it, petrol heads and motorbike guys out there, or women, they're not going to go, oh, that's automotive or motorcycle. It looks beautiful, and only the people that are probably inspired by that world might see that. Otherwise, it's just a beautiful piece.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, ultimately, you know, all of the products we have, I want to be very elegant, very placeable in your home, you know, and you've got to remember that what we do is high multiple product. So you don't just have one door handle, you have maybe 10, 20. You don't have, one pull bar in your kitchen, you have 10, 20. So it's really important that this stuff is unique. It does stand out, and people do notice it at dinner parties. But also, it's nice and utilitarian, and you can live with it, and it's elegant. So we kind of that try and make that balance is always really important for us. Of something that's exciting but also very livable, and hopefully kind of like tread that tightrope pretty well.
Nice, you do.
Yeah.
Now, if you could just figure out for the rest of the world for us how to make recessed pot or can lights in residential look good.
Well, it's funny you should say that. That's actually next on the chopping board. So we're hopefully soon going to have an exhaust recessed downlight very soon. So, watch this space, I think. Watch this space.
I will be watching it.
That's a hangover from like the 90s, isn't it? Everyone loved the downlight. It's everywhere. It kills a space, but we're doing something with a baffle so it softens the light. And like I said, you're going to have to watch the space.
You can't see me here, but my fist is up in the air saying, finally, finally, someone solved
Good
this.
Man.
That is great. And I mean, the other thing I do love is, even your dog collars, from dog collars to furniture to motorcycles, you guys just touch on everything. And for all you listening out there, head to busterandpunch.com and you'll see what I'm talking about. But that Rockstar bar is stunning.
Yeah, I mean, we've always when I started the brand, and actually our first product was that Rockstar bar, and it was built for a Rockstar, and we turned it into a standard product. So that actually was our first ever product, was that one.
Nice.
But we've sort of always wanted to excite people outside of the world of interiors, so we want to talk to those people that don't just sit on social and like kitchen images. We want to speak to people that love music and motorbikes and fashion and pets and all these sorts of things. So we do every now and then put some very unexpected product out there that sort of is more of a lifestyle piece or talks about things that we love. One of them recently is this dog collar. We all love dogs in the office here. We've got like an office dog, and during this COVID craziness, part of the best bit of our sort of lockdown lives at the moment is taking the office dog for a walk, and that's kind of how that product came about. We wanted to make something for all the dogs out there that give people so much joy during sort of a pretty tough 6 months or so.
Yep.
So we do unexpected stuff, and as I said before, we've done rap videos. We were the first interior brand to be in London Fashion Week. We did a boot. It was like a motorbike boot. It was really cool. And we've got a bunch of really exciting collaborations coming up that we probably can't talk about at the moment, but we're there with some American rock star, one of them, and then a very big motorsport thing is coming up. So we do like to alternate or oscillate from very boring products that people love because we've kind of changed the way they look to very sort of exciting lifestyle pieces, because it's really important that the two sort of contrast each other.
Yeah.
So we've got some odd stuff on there.
I wouldn't even call it odd though. It's stunning, and every time I go on the website, I'm like, "Ooh, what's new?" It's not predictable, and the designer in me loves that. From where you're going with lights to cabinet hardware, and just like your door hardware as well. It's the same kind of thing. That door hardware is beautiful, and it really feels quality. And if you want to see, for anyone listening out there that's by their computer, head over to Buster and Punch and you'll see what I'm talking about. You guys you designed the most innovative but simple doorknob that just looks like a dial. It's stunning.
Yeah, the doorknob's actually is quite a recent addition. But yeah, we've got, as I said before, we are first and foremost, we're makers and builders and designers, and we love making stuff. We don't follow any formal function. Traditionally, interiors product brands have tried to make very neutral, minimal product to appeal to the biggest market possible. And what that does is it kind of like makes very bland product. You know, we've always looked at ourselves more as a Marmite. You know, you either love us or we're maybe not your cup of tea. But, you know, we do love making stuff, and we're constantly bringing out new things and new exciting things. And I think for next year anyway, we've got about 100 new products, which sounds kind of bonkers. But they're things that we've been working on for a long time. So yeah, if you keep checking back in, we are makers. That's the bottom line. You know, we love making stuff, and that won't stop. So yeah, and like, you know, you talked about before, I think it's really important that, you know, we constantly try and be accessible. You know, we want our products to be all beautifully hand finished and made from solid metals, but we also want you to be able to afford them. Not less because they're high multiple. You have a lot of this stuff in your home. So, you know, it's really important for me, especially personally as a designer, that I always think the best design is affordable and accessible, although we might be more on the luxury side of things than the sort of Home Depot side of things. But, you know, that's a really important thing of what we do. You know, music's accessible and fashion's accessible, and we want our stuff to be accessible. So hopefully, you know, people that are listening in and you know, renovating and, you know, haven't got massive budgets, hopefully, you know, there's stuff on our site that will, you know, elevate their homes. And like I said, all the things we do are the things you touch all the time. So they are the most important bits. You know, traditionally people have spent all their money on a sofa, whereas actually the thing that really says your house has quality are the things you touch every day, which are light switches and door handles and things like that. So I kind of think there's a big movement now back to these sort of smaller home details and how important they are. You know, people spend so much money on construction and things behind the wall that if you then whack up a plastic light switch, it doesn't tell who's living in the house or your guests that this is a quality construction project or renovation. So these things are starting to become really, really important. You know, like you turn on a Marshall amp and it has that lovely click, you also want to get that from your light switch because it says this is quality. You know, I've spent blood, sweat and tears, you know, putting windows up and putting steel reinforcement in the walls. You know, it's so important that you get the fittings right, because they're that sort of connection between the two, you know, between the inhabitants and the actual house and the bones in the house. So you know, I hope people like what we do, and as I said, we love what we do, so I really hope that comes across.
Yeah, it really does. And by the way, I did see online the pictures of your home there in Stockholm. Stunning work, my friend, stunning work. Beautiful home you've got there.
Yeah, we have. I mean, I met my wife in London, so I've lived in London all my life, and we still spend a lot of our time in London. But we wanted to come back to Sweden and have some kids and a family, and we found this like really old Bauhaus type home, loads of small rooms, a really crappy home, but it was sitting on a beautiful lake, really close to town. So that was like a 2-year renovation project, and we gutted everything, and we wanted to take this very small, uninspiring Bauhaus and turn it into kind of like an East London, very open plan loft space full of metal, and everything was made in the Buster and Punch workshop in London, and it has that sort of connection for me anyway back home, although we sit on a lake in Sweden. So yeah, it's a lot of blood, sweat and tears in that, and I can tell you when you've got small kids, it's a deal breaker.
I was wondering how you did that, because my kids have grown now, but with toddlers and younger kids running around, holy smokes, one, that's a full-time job in itself, but trying to create a home that can withstand that is a whole other movement.
Yeah, I mean, the hardest thing is, like, you know, you want to build a home that just looks great and you love, but you've also got to baby-proof it. So, you know, we made all bespoke baby gates out of the same metal that we made all the balustrades and stuff, you know, and we're actually now looking into maybe launching those baby gates, because it is the last thing, it's the last frontier, you know. No one's made a good baby gate.
Oh, they're all white
all
plastic.
Those little things. But you know, and it's when you are faced with those tough times that sort of cool things come out of them. So we're super happy now and starting to really bed into the home. So yeah, we're back from the dead.
Congrats, man. That is awesome, and it's also a victory too, because once you get out of that stage, although they're fun at every stage, you start getting into those wonder years of just as a father, I can say that I had so much great time with my kids during that time. Enjoy it while you got it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I will. That's the one blessing of this sort of very dull, boring, horrible 6 months has just been kids. And it does wind you up the wall, every now and then, but it's been great, actually.
Absolutely. Well, Massimo, thank you so much for what you've done out for the architecture and interior design world out there with Buster and Punch, man. This is stunning stuff, and we'll bring you back on again when the new stuff comes out, because I want to catch the inspiration on that as well.
Oh, you're welcome. And you're using the stuff, aren't you? Are you renovating something? Is that right?
I'm doing my kitchen and master bath now. So I've got the hero light in the dining room. I'm using the T handle in brass for the cabinet. Ooh. For the cabinet knobs. I've got in brass. I've got that on white cabinets, and I've got a concrete gray looking countertop, and I've got pro style appliances that are a black brushed stainless. So we're having a lot of fun with that. Right. And then I'm using the black door handles around the house. So there's a lot of little pieces that are going into from your stuff, because wife and I both absolutely love it. I got the light hooked up on Sunday, and she walks in and goes, "That's the swankiest thing I've ever bought," and that we've ever had in the house. I mean, this is just one of those things.
I hope you told her you brought it for her.
Yeah,
that's when you go, "Yeah, well, I brought it for you."
Yeah, exactly. What's great though is design-wise, her and I get along so well. Even though she's much more kind of bohemian, she likes the automotive world, so it's one of those things that the style kind of fits in, and we can mesh her style and my style together and make it our home.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing some pictures. And
you sure will. You sure will. Yeah. So, Massimo Buster Minale, thanks, brother. Founder of Buster and Punch. Eric. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Ciao.
Thanks, brother. All right, I'm a little guilty. I was fangirling there just a little bit. That's how it goes.
I mean, you have their stuff in your home already. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know it. It's cool. When you find a product like that ends up being something that just touches on your design style, and Julie loves it too. I mean, like we talked about. I mean, got that light in there, and it's just blown away. She could just sit there and stare at that thing. It's stunning for both of us, and that's really fun to me design-wise.
I mean, and I know that you're a designer, so this is already something you've planned and thought out, but man, that's going to look so good. That fixture that you have right now in your dining room with your Waterstone faucets, talked to a couple, that's going to look so good together.
Oh yeah, that with the Z-Line black stainless appliances are going to look good in there with all the, we've got all these different things going on in there. It's really going to be cool, and I'm super stoked about how there's going to be a ton of video, guys, so you'll be able to catch all that here. We're going to have a lot of installation videos, everything from I can talk about a little bit because we talked about it this last week. So I've teamed up with Corian, which is DuPont Corian Endura. So we're putting the Endura countertops in my kitchen. And so this is a slab porcelain. So if you think what tiles made out of porcelain, this is kind of like space shuttle stuff. Like was on the bottom of the space shuttle is your countertop material. So
that's holding up.
It's holding up. I mean, I can take the Screaming Hot Pan and put it on there. To be honest, it's not going to hurt it. Again, you don't want to thermal shock anything, but you're not going to hurt this countertop. So that's going to be going in there. So we've got a lot of cool things that are going to be coming up that I'm super excited about project-wise. So this fall and winter, there's going to be some heavy projects going, so stay tuned for kitchen and bath stuff around here. We've got plenty to do.
Well, and we want any of your questions on your projects there at your house. Our number here in the studio, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 971-233-8992.
Exactly. And hey, by the way, it's the last weekend of the tool giveaway, so September 27th is the last day, and head over to aroundthehouseonline.com. This is great for your beginning homeowner, that person that wants to get into DIY.
This isn't just your sockets and wrenches. There's saws involved. They're included. There's all sorts of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff. And just head over to Around the House online. You can go over there, sign up for free, and they'll ship it anywhere in the continental U.S., and they'll get you taken care of there. It's got, really cool lithium-ion batteries, so it's kind of hard to ship those things around sometimes. So this is going to go here in the continental U.S. So all of our international followers, sorry we couldn't help you on this one today.
Maybe next time.
We'll have some fun stuff coming up with that here. I got some ideas for that coming up. So make sure you do that. And then, guys, just hit us up on Facebook, Around the House with Eric G. Next week, we've got some fun stuff ahead, too. We're going to be talking with Fujitsu America, talking about those mini-split heat pumps and stuff that you can do with that. And that's all the time we got for this week. I'm Eric G.
I'm Dane Vodder.
And you've been listening
to Around the House.
Around the House with Eric G. is produced by, designed by Eric G. in association with Salem Media and distributed nationally by the Sun Broadcast Group. All rights reserved. Copyright 2020, designed by Eric G. We will be back next week. If you missed part of the show, check out the podcast of all of our shows at AroundTheHouseOnline.com. Remember, measure with a micrometer, mark with caulk, and cut with an axe. Thanks for listening to Around the House.
If I could dream. Is your website losing you money instead of making it? Slow load times, outdated design, or a clunky mobile experience could be driving those customers away. At SiteHypeDesigns.com, we turn bad websites into high-performing, customer-winning machines. Our expert designers create sleek, fast, and SEO-optimized sites that don't just look good, they convert visitors into paying customers. Don't let a weak website hold you back. Visit SiteHypeDesigns.com today for a free website audit and discover how we can take your business to the next level. SiteHypeDesigns.com. Websites that work as hard as you do.
For our Around the House listeners, use promo code ERICG for a free website audit and a free half-hour consultation call.